We have with us Dr. Mrs. Jennifer Braimoh, and she is the president, Intensive Rescue Foundation International. She will be talking to us today on World Menstrual Hygiene Day. I am a man, but I am interested in all of this. Doctor, talk to me.
I am so glad you said that.
Yeah, I'm
Welcome
interested.
Everybody, and Happy Democracy Day. Okay,
Now,
let's have a handshake for saying that, because a lot of men don't want to talk about menstruation at all.
I want to talk about it.
Okay, so what is World Menstrual Hygiene Day, and why do we need to talk about it? We need to talk about it because 52% of the world population are women.
Wow.
And they are between the ages of 15 to 49, and they are menstruating. Can you wrap your head around that? 3.6 billion women menstruating every month is a big deal. And so we must talk about it. We must talk about it because girls have always been marginalized. We must talk about it because menstrual products, the sanitary towels, the pads, the tampons, the menstrual cups that girls use to collect their menstrual blood every month have tariffs on them. Each time you go to purchase a new set, the price is different from the last month. And 70% of young girls and women in the north in Nigeria use cloth as their menstrual materials, because a lot of them, especially in rural areas, cannot afford to buy menstrual materials. And menstruation is a topic that people do not want to talk about because it's kind of a taboo topic. So we must talk about it. Schools, workplaces do not have lavatories, toilets, disposal units where girls can safely practice or safely change their menstrual products in privacy, in safety, and in a hygienic condition. So we must talk about it. So we must have schools that have toilets and water and soap, so that young girls who go to school can have access to privacy and sanitary places to change their menstrual products when the time arises, right? And we must talk about it because a lot of young girls spend 3 to 5 days at home, and they miss 45 days of school every year because they do not have adequate menstrual products or do not have access to safe lavatories or private lavatories to change these menstrual products when it is time. So they stay home and they miss school and they end up dropping out of school, and then the circle of poverty continues. And if we do not talk about it, SDG 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 12 will not be accomplished by the year 2030. So we must talk about it.
Wow, you've reeled out a whole lot of statistics. If you ask me, I think it's an eye-opener for some of us.
Yes.
And now, losing 40 days in a year out of school, for me, it's more than a session in the university. And then, it's really going to tell on the educational capability of the girl child. Now, what do you intend to do differently? Because from what you've said so far, I see a very Herculean task ahead. What do you intend to do so far in order to salvage the situation?
The good thing about it is that all hands, just like we're holding hands like this, all hands are on deck to ensure that girls who cannot afford disposable sanitary towels every month have an alternative or have alternatives, right? So we're providing them with education, first of all. They need to be educated about menstrual hygiene management. And what exactly is menstrual hygiene management? It is the ability of young girls who are menstruating to have access to a safe environment, a private lavatory that is sanitary, that has water and soap to manage their period as at when due, right? Now we're making sure that toilets are built, not just toilets being built. Sanitary, lavatories with shower stalls are built so that young girls can manage their periods properly, okay? We're providing them with sustainable menstrual products. And what are these sustainable menstrual products? They are washable sanitary towels and they are menstrual cups. Washable sanitary towels are sanitary towels that are made just the way disposable ones are made, with wings, and they're soft and they fit every body type and they fit every menstrual type. You just wash them every month. You use and you wash, you hang, you sun dry, right? You put back into your wardrobe so that every month there's no anxiety as to how do I get the money to buy. These washable sanitary towels even come with pants, underwear, with washing soap and powder and leaflets to educate the young girls, so that there's no excuse not to go to work or to school or to your state acquisition center to learn a trade or to earn a living. Okay. All right? And now this washable sanitary towels do not constitute any form of solid waste, just like disposable ones do, because it takes about 500 years for a single sanitary towel to biodegrade.
Wow, 500 years.
500 years. Yes.
Wow.
That is why we also talk about disposal units. We talk about menstrual hygiene management and lavatories. Every school, every workspace must have disposal units so that these sanitary towels are either incinerated, which is burnt, or buried properly.
Yeah.
Okay. Now the difference between the washable sanitary towels or the sustainable ones is that you wash and you just keep. So all you throw away is the effluent, the water. And in most cases, the water is actually used to, fertilize your plants. They serve as manure, so nothing is wasted.
Wow.
And then they're very environmentally friendly, which is what the SDGs is all about. Yes.
Now we've spoken about the SDGs, the role they have to play. How about coming down to the immediate family, the parents? What roles do parents and mothers have to play in educating their child towards menstrual hygiene?
You have just hit on the word educate. Parents must be educated themselves so that they can give their kids informed education as well, accurate information about it. For me, when I first saw my period, my mother, of course, is educated. She's a nurse, or was a nurse, bless her soul. She told me everything that I needed to know. She even went as far as giving me a kind of malted drink, telling me congratulations, you're now a woman. Gave me the birds and bees story about unprotected sexual intercourse and unplanned pregnancies and sexually transmitted infections. Put all the sanitary towels in a nice bag for me. Put the soap in there, put sanitizer in there, put extra tissue in there, put extra, bags in there, so that I'm prepared. And she said to me, every month, when you're done with this bag, you replenish, so that every month you're ready. So that is the education that parents, teachers, caregivers need to pass on to their kids, and the kids will turn pass it on to their friends, and then to their own kids when they have kids.
Okay, you're talking on your path where you had your mom who had the opportunity to. How about the regular delayed women on the street who don't even have the opportunity or have access to such things? What would you advise them?
That is what this program is all about. There's somebody out there who has the information to pass across to the next generation, and it must be done. The buck does not stop just with the parents. The buck stops on the feet or on the table of a man or a woman who has that information to pass on to the next generation.
How about the fathers?
Of course, that's why I said man or woman. Fathers, uncles, nephews, they're all involved. They are our male champions, so we must carry them along.
Okay, now let's talk about the sanitary pads.
Yeah.
Formerly, I used to buy my sanitary pad at 180, and now I'm buying it at 400 naira for one, and then which you have just 7. Formerly, it used to even be up to 8. Now it's just 7. That's the disposable ones. So, what role do you think the government should play in making this affordable for the regular young girls? Because I know how difficult it is for students to actually afford pad.
I know what you mean. Now, 2 things the government can do when it comes to the menstrual products, especially disposable sanitary towels. The first thing they can do is remove the tax. They're taxable, If you can remove the tax on these products, they'll be cheaper than they are now, and the prices will remain consistent. The second thing they can do is subsidize if they cannot remove the tax. Subsidize the products. In fact, there's a third thing they can do. They can build dispensers in schools, especially public schools, where all you need to do every time you're on your period is press a button and the pad drops, or the pad drops. And then there'll be data collected over time to know how many pads a girl can take at what time. Even if you need to do the fingerprinting thing or you use the eyelid thing to do, to get the number of girls who are collecting the parts, so that people do not start doing something funny like collecting too many parts and selling them and all of that. These are the kind of things that they can do. People are already doing it in different countries. They're already doing it in different countries. And then the government will also try to provide a safe environment for people who are working, to be able to go to work without anxiety of, I do not have a safe toilet or a sanitary toilet to manage my periods. In countries such as Bangladesh, in Nepal, women take what's it called now, fertility pills, to stop their periods, to keep their period in check, because they do not have conducive working environments, especially when it comes to the lavatories. So they take menstrual, fertility pills to stop their periods so that they can go to work without anxiety, knowing that if they need to use the lavatory, just go and do number 1 or do number 2.
How safe is that?
Well, it's not, in the long run, it's not safe for them, because some side effects of fertility pills or some side effects of, family planning pills is a cancer. So you do not want to do that. Menstruation is a normal biological process, so there's no reason to inhibit it, except there's a problem, like you have, too much blood flow, and you want to stop it, and that's when the gynecologist comes in to say, okay, there's a problem here, let's cut your menstrual flow and find out what the problem is, and then you can continue afterwards. So you cannot just be taking family planning clothes just because we do not have a safe working environment. That's wrong. So these are some of the things that the government needs to know and then put a stop to it.
Well, the area I'm interested in is the newly introduced wash and wear sanitary pads you're talking about. Now, how affordable will that be, to the common girl on the street who is probably selling groundnuts, pure water or something?
Yes.
How affordable?
Now, the thing is this, it's actually not new. It's not new.
Okay.
For decades, for centuries, before, diapers, the ones that babies wear, and the disposable sanitary pads became the trend, women were using cloth. Yes, women were using cloth, just the way babies were using napkins, washable napkins. Women were using cloth as a sanitary products. Just the same thing that is happening right now. They're using cloth and rags and t-shirts and towels, anything that you can just lay your hands on. Even as I speak with you, in the IDP camps in Borno State, in the northeast, young women, young girls are using Ankara fabric. They sew it like a sock, put sand in there, and use it as a menstrual product.
Wow.
When people like me and us on this show have sanitary towels that are washable, well-made, hypoallergenic, fast-drying, ready to, supply to these people at minimum cost, so that when, humanitarian aid comes to crisis situations, menstrual hygiene management is not a problem. Because a lot of times, when there's a crisis, the last thing on the minds of the first responders is menstrual hygiene management. You just want to give you food, shelter, and clothing. You forget about the lavatories and the sanitary needs of women. So this is something that also must be considered. All right. Now you ask me, how affordable is a washable sanitary towel or the other alternative menstrual cups? The initial investment will be steep, but bear in mind that it lasts for 5 to 10 years. So if they can, find a way to source that initial investment, at the long run, it will be good for them. But what we're also trying to do as a non-governmental organization is to look for sponsors to sponsor the production of this product, so that they can be given to these people for free.
For free.
That's what we're trying to do, and that is the aim, or that is the goal of producing or providing the sanitary towels. Sponsors, philanthropists, government organizations, international donor partners collaborate with us, get these products and give it to these women in the rural communities, in the local schools for free. Yes.
Okay. Still on menstrual hygiene. Now, we have a whole lot of girls that go through severe cramps, and one of them I end up in the hospital every time during my period. And now, with that, you still find it difficult you can't even stand up to eat. Talk more of standing up to have time to change your sanitary towel, or you can't even stand up to do anything. So how do you think cramps can be handled to the barest minimum for a regular young lady that wants to go out?
That's a lovely question. There are different ways to handle cramps, and there are different levels of the cramps. We have mild, moderate, and severe. I was in a group to go to the hospital, take a shot, and get better. The thing is, now you must know what kind of cramp you get, so that you know how to deal with it when that time of the month comes. We have what they call the premenstrual syndrome. You begin to have cramp, irritable, and all of that. Now, there are simple things to do. You can take a walk for people who have mild cramps. You can take over-the-counter painkillers. There are different ones out there. You do not need a prescription to get one. Or you can take the IM or IV injection. So as long as you know your body type and the type of cramps that you get, every month you're prepared for it, so that it doesn't slow you down. The theme for this year's menstrual hygiene day is #NoMoreLimits. Being a woman and menstruating should not be anything to limit you, much less of the cramps that accompanies it. So because you have cramps every month, you have to have a way to make sure that the cramps does not slow you down or limit what you can do as a person.
I also learned that there are some foods that you don't have to take, maybe drinks and all that sugary substances that a lady should do away with prior to the period time.
There's a correlation between sugar and the level, the degree of cramps that a woman gets during her period. But let's not limit it to the period only. Okay. Sugar is not good for anybody. Long-term effect of sugar is overindulgence of sugary substances is diabetes and related complications. So, for the purposes of this show, let us not just limit it to menstrual cramps.
Okay.
Let us also inform the audience that sugar is not good for anybody. All right. So yes, there's a correlation between sugar and menstruation. So reduce your sugar intake, or do not even take sugar at all. Take your sugar, or get your sugar high from fruits. Fruits have natural sugars, and those ones do not harm anybody. It is a refined sugar that So if you have a sugar craving, go look for the sweetest fruits that you can think of: banana, mango, pineapple, watermelon, very sugary. Go look for those ones that are much better.
Okay.
And I was about to talk about the sugar crave because you said we have pre-menstrual, and most of us we just want to drink Coke every day to the day of the period, and then on that day you feel like you want to.
Oh my goodness, you have terrible cramps. Yes. Please switch it up with some sugary fruits.
Okay.
Yes, it's better that way. Yes. And then there's also the reverse. A lot of people have craving for salty stuff and peppery stuff. Yeah. Like for me, when I'm menstruating, I want to eat the hottest, spiciest suya I can find. I'm telling you.
Wow.
I'm telling you. Or I just want to go to the salt container and just, eat it. You shouldn't do that. You should.
That's dangerous.
It's dangerous. It's like being pregnant when you have pica. You have, craving for strange stuff. Yes.
Wow. Okay, let me take you on this. I also know a few of my friends, they'll tell me that, I never expected that it's going to come today, but unfortunately it's here. So let me just go do some taking care of my stuff. And why will it be so obvious that a particular date will have to change over and again, without it being constant? Is there any health challenge to that?
Not necessarily. The environment, the way you feel, stress affects your period.
Okay.
Sometimes weight loss, weight gain affects it. Sometimes relocation affects it. I may relocate to Canada today, and I don't see my period for the next 3 months. My body is in shock. The system is trying to readjust to the new environment.
Okay.
I may gain a lot of weight, I may lose a lot of weight, and it affects it. But the most important thing is that it's going to normalize. And then with age, the period becomes irregular because it's getting ready to taper off. And then something else we need to tell our audience is, when you see your period for the first time, youngest between the ages of 9 to 19, that is the age range to see your period. Youngest 9, oldest between 14 to 15. If at the age of 19 you haven't seen your period, then it's a problem. You need to go see a gynecologist. And aside from that, there are some people who naturally are born and will not see their period. And that does not even prevent them from getting pregnant, because, like we said earlier, menstruation is a natural biological process, and it's an indication of healthy reproductive life in the future.
All right. How about those with irregular periods?
Those with irregular periods, it's actually called an irregular period. Irregularly irregular period. They know that their period is irregular, so they find a way to manage it. Now, a period regularizes over 6 years from when it started, either when the person is 9 or when the person is 15. It takes about 6 years to regularize. So what you need to know about that is that when your period comes for the first time, when you have a talk with your caregiver, they tell you the first day your period comes is your first menstrual day, so that's day 1. You count it until it stops. And then you count the calendar and you keep marking the calendar until the period comes the next time. Over time, you'll see that there's a pattern. It comes between 21 to 35 days, and it lasts between 2 to 7 days. So you know that is where your period falls. So, but the normal one that everybody's aware of is the 5-day period over 28-day length, cycle length. So the period flows for 5 days and comes back every 28 days. And we should also know that you should change your period material, menstrual material, every 2 to 6 hours. But you have a heavier flow. Whenever you feel heavy and uncomfortable before the first 2 hours, then you should go and change. And make sure that hygiene is very important. You must have water and soap to clean that area properly. Have a bath at least twice a day. If you can, have a bath 3 times a day.
Yeah, you talked about new entrants into the cycle period, and you gave an age range of 9 to 15. I remember while growing up, my grandmom would always tell my elder sister that, okay, till you get to maybe age 16, 17 before you start seeing your period. And now this is a different age range. I want to know what has really changed.
No, not necessarily. Age range is 9 to 19.
Yeah.
19 being the highest, 9 being the youngest. So between the ages of 9 to 19, different girls see their periods.
But before now, was it also like that? Because I know that
it was like that, but because of the change in your ozone layer, change in what we eat, and how fast young girls grow, and the change in the system, and all of the things going on in the country right now, I mean in the world right now, the menstrual age has come down to 9. In fact, some people even see their years as early as 8.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. That's quite early.
Yes. So, taking you back to, since we're talking about menstrual hygiene, let's just touch menstruation entirely now.
Yeah.
What would you say to people who have see their period for just 2 days? It's abnormal. You start with 5 days and then it drops and drops and drops, and then you get to a point where it gets to a day or a day and a half, what do you advise them?
At every point in a woman's life, you must experience an irregular period, depending on what you're going through at that moment. My period, for example, is 5 to 7 days. All right, that's free flowing from day 1 to day 5, day 6 and 7, spot, and then it tapers off. Sometimes, at a point in my life, I've seen my period for just 2 days. But because I'm in a medical profession, I know these things happen. And at the time that was happening, I was going through some kind of, negative period in my life. So I just knew that was what was happening. So if someone is going through something like that, just be calm. Take a good look at what is happening in your life. You will find out what the problem is. Because like we already said, environment, stress, bodily functions, what is happening in your emotional state, your physical state, affects your menstrual period. But if it becomes consistent, and then something else you must note is the color of the blood and the tonicity of it, the texture of it, the content of it. You should also know if it's not what it should be, like free red blood, it's coming in close and it's dark brown and it's black. There's something else maybe going on. Then you need to go see a gynecologist. Because one of the symptoms of cervical cancer is irregular blood flow, and then the blood itself, the color and the consistency will change. So you need to go see the gynecologist. Do not wait and say, oh, because I lost weight or I relocated, and that is what the problem is. Yes.
You've asked all your questions.
Well, I'm really gotten. No, I'm a woman, so I know most of these things. You should be the one inquisitive for your daughter in the future.
Exactly.
Okay, now we'll just move a little bit out of the menstrual cycle into the Nigerian cycle.
Okay.
Let's talk about the democracy cycle.
Yes, we can do that.
Yeah, today is May 29th,
Yes.
and it's the 19th anniversary of our country, talking about our democratic life as a nation.
Yes.
Health-wise, are we far from where we want to be, or we are still where we used to be?
We are far from where we want to be. Okay, right now, Johesu is on strike, and they may say they're going to go on strike. And the nurses, everybody want to go on strike. Patients are suffering, especially, of course, the masses. 80% plus of Nigerians are, lower income earners. Yeah, and even if we are a low income country, the people in here are even more low income than the status of the country itself. And when Johesu goes on strike or Anime goes on strike, it is the common man that suffers. The people who are in the upper 20% just jet out of the country, or they go to one of the private hospitals in Nigeria. We are not going to sell our country short or the health sector short just because we want to talk. We have come a long way, right? I mean, we've been able to kick polio out of Nigeria perfectly well, confidently. Ebola was handled very well. West Africa was handled very well, even if we have one or two outbreaks here and there. But there still is a lot to be done. We still have a lot to be done because still our maternal rate is terrible, our infant rate is terrible, and all of that. These are things that should be shored up. All hands needs to be on deck in the health sector and otherwise to make sure that we get to where we need to get to.
But will you say 19 years along the line, we've been able to handle some of these issues very well? Now, how do you think we can take the next step in handling some other diseases that might creep into the country? Don't forget, in the DRC, Ebola is back there.
Oh yes, it's
and
back
in
there.
Adamawa State, we have cholera outbreak. Over 400 people affected, and the number of deaths keeps increasing. And all that. So, what's the next step that we need to take?
The key word for the next step is being proactive. We should stop being reactive. What does it entail to be proactive? It means to plan ahead. We build infrastructures that are needed, labs, state-of-the-art labs with all of the equipment that are needed. We train the healthcare professionals. We employ more hands, because part of the reason why Johesu is going on strike is they want 1, 2, 3 things done. Increase the staff strength, increase the salary, pay their arrears. Otherwise, they're not going to go back. So if we look at one of the things that they ask for is staff strength, and we train off the staff members. So if we can do that and stop being reactive, then we'll be where we need to be even before the deadline. Yes. Because remember, Nigeria was not able to, accomplish the Millennium Goals.
Yeah.
Then we have the SDGs now, and the deadline for the SDGs is 2030. Already there are projections that we will not even get there. We will not be able to accomplish any of the 17 indicators of the SDGs. So we need to be proactive. We have beautiful, framework. Can we put those framework into practice? That is a problem.
Well, at least we have the low positive views this time around. well. Now, let's still talk about that now. Do you think there's anything extra aside being proactive the government could put in place in the health sector that will actually improve the lives and affect the regular Nigerians?
Yeah, it joined that to that, Doctor. Yeah. I want to see a country maybe in the next 2 years where my president will be sick and you will be the one to attend to him, maybe at Maitama Hospital here. And I want to see a situation where my governor is sick and is taken to one of the medical facilities in the state. Are we far from that? Are we really far from that? How far?
We're actually not far from that, because guess what? You go abroad because you think they have the best. A lot of doctors in Nigeria go abroad, get the best, come back here and put it in the system. That's why you have all of these private hospitals cropping up. The only difference between the private hospital and the public hospital is cost. But the time to get treated is faster in the private hospitals. But at the end of the day, the cost is heavy. Private hospitals that are first class in Abuja can treat anybody. It's just that we do not have the confidence in them. Talk about the electricity problem. You're being operated on the theater. PhD hand goes off.
And lack of oxygen.
Everybody's running up and down. You have to put this back on, put that back on. Sometimes if you do not have the immediate changeover, or you do not have solar panels, you're in trouble. Okay, what? For example, the generator man goes to put it on, is stuck. What's going to happen? I've seen situations where you use candles and lamps and all of that. In fact, I've seen situations where a woman is going for antenatal clinic, they give her a crazy list. Included on that list is kerosene lamp, generator, fuel, or diesel, depending on what the hospital is using. These are things that we don't want to hear about. When you go to hospitals abroad, you don't go with anything, you just go with your sick self. They fix you, and you go back home. That can be obtained here. We just need to do things a little differently. Yes.
We just hope that we'll get to that point very, very soon. Because some of the monies that you use in treating yourself out there,
it's crazy.
Very, very crazy. And if that is, plowed back into the economy, our health sector, I think, will be much more better. Definitely. Now, let's talk about facilities in our health, institution or sector.
Yes.
Let's know exactly what the state of some of these machines are, because I know those who are having liver problems need to go through, what do you call it now? Dialysis, kidney problem, and most times we're being told that some of these machines are not really functional, or we have just a handful of it, and the number of patients are actually outrunning, the machine's ability and capacity and all that. Now, how are we going to get all of that sorted out?
Two things with the nephrology department. One is the machines are there, but they are old, they're obsolete. Two, they do not have enough technicians. People who know how to handle it, and people who know how to fix the fault. So if we can do away with the obsolete ones, or maintain the obsolete ones, because they are still functional actually. It's just that they're not state of the art anymore. They're like 15 years old. If we can maintain them properly, teach technicians how to maintain them, because guess what? When this equipment come into the country, you have an MOU with the manufacturers. They come and install it. They send you with technicians to teach your own staff on ground how to fix it. But a lot of times, hospitals just buy, put it on the internet, put it on social media, tell everybody that they have this equipment on here, come and get treated. And then people go and they don't know how to use it. It's just a selling point, an advertorial point for people to come to the hospital, and then they can treat you for malaria and send you to antenatal clinic.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Time is no longer our friend. Lilian, you want to ask your last question, or you want us to release doctor?
Fully educated. I really can't wait to have you on something health-wise, health stuff, much later, diabetes and all, because I know Nigerians are eating habits is something else. I want to talk about all of that too, but time is already not on our side. But then one word to Nigerians in democracy they give.
Okay. Sit tight, hang tight. The best is yet to come. And you don't sit at home and be lazy. Look for something constructive to do. Be an entrepreneur if you want to. Just be productive. Yes.
Yeah, this is People's TV, and we won't let you go until you tell us Happy Democracy Day in your dialect.
Okay. Oh my God. I'm in trouble. Happy Democracy Day. I don't know how to say that. I'm so sorry.
All right, at this point, we'll be calling it a wrap together with Dr. Jennifer Braimoh, who is the President, Intensive Rescue Foundation International. And today, we've been able to talk about World Menstrual Hygiene Day. And I am a man. I actually picked interest, when I was told that she was coming on the show. I want to say a big thank you for finding out time to be here today.
Always a pleasure.